Doing this is important in reference to things. These people have tried to say things like, why would I have rights to live off of the estates of my mother and father and grandparents when my mother and father had given me the estates and all the treasury documents are there? This government man is one of the men that's trying to steal my mother and father's estates. And these people are blocking me from my monies of, revenues from the entertainment industry. They're blocking me from lawsuits. They're blocking me from accounts that my parents had at the Screen Actors Union. For me, this government man keeps trying to say these things like they try to play this satellite shit, and they try to. I was trained in satellite technology a little, so it's kind of important. But the satellite man tried to say something like, "Oh, why would I have a right being the owner of my mother and father's estates? My parents gave me the estates, and it's on treasury documents. I'm not illegitimate. I'm the real child and only child of my mother and father." Some people will say that's next of kin in some acknowledgments, but the factuality, I'm the last living relative of my mother and father and family history. But this government man trying to play these games, claiming he didn't know why my parents gave me everything, and this government man's trying to act like wondering why my parents didn't give them nothing. My parents was not entitled to give anybody else anything. I'm the only child. It's a bloodline. 100% bloodline. My mother and father was distant cousins. Do you understand that? And basic information. So it's a 100% bloodline. Even if I had children, they wouldn't be entitled to my mother and father's estates. Do you understand what it means? Reference to my mother and father's bloodline and my grandparents. But this government man is trying to steal everything. Trying to say stupid things like, why would your parents give you everything if you're the only child? Because I'm the only child? And that's the way estates normally work? In reference to 100% bloodlines? See, these people are like the thieves and gold diggers that are the gold digging people that are trying to steal. That begins with a D, don't get stupid. They try to play this game of faking their identities, forging documents, and claiming they thought they were the next of kin of my mother and father's estates. These people are criminals. They hit me in the throat. I'm the only child of my mother and father forever. You have no connection. And they need to check what your race and your DNA is and where you came from. If you're in government, you're supposed to know estate laws in America. And any extortion or any muscling or abuses that came from government is attempts of murder. And it is on record that the government murdered my grandparents. The government murdered my mother and father. Isn't it? The government had to admit fault that they murdered my mother and father and my parents was frozen. And they'll come back to life someday. So in reference to your government man trying to play these games, why do you think you have any opinion? There are handwritten documents from my mother and father that I am the owner of the estates forever. At the Treasury, too, the American Treasury and the European Treasuries. And some other countries have copies of the information. So who are you to be blocking me from my mother and father's mansions? Who are you to be blocking me from my lawsuits or insurance monies that I was supposed to have received in reference to the companies? See, there's certain companies that have documents of insurance, such as if I was held hostage, I was supposed to get insurance monies for me personally in reference to me getting kidnapped or me getting injured because people tried to steal the companies or people tried to steal my identity. The Treasury knows about those types of documents. It's just not normal, common, insurance. It's, there's all kinds of insurance in reference to being held hostage, being abused, teeth damage, facial damage. And where's the insurance money? I haven't received nothing. There's all kinds of court documents, all kinds of laws. But this government man keeps trying to play this game, like trying to say something stupid like, oh, you were trying to get a free ride on your mother and father's estates. You know, when my mother and father got murdered, I got injured both times. Where's that insurance money? These people trespassed on my mother and father's mansion properties. And I'm the only child of my mother and father. There is nobody else. I'm the only child of my mother and father. And people are even blocking me from revenues from when I was on TV when I was a little boy. And music revenues. They're blocking me from the revenues that are in accounts that I was supposed to have gotten interest monies off of. Does anybody know? Is there any accountants at any of the companies or at the Screen Actors Union that knows anything about this? Or insurance companies? Haven't received any of the lawsuits in reference to government bad people and their actions and abuses of what they have been doing. Where's my lawsuit monies? There's time and dates of information, time and dates of injuries, and they were caused by their government agents. Then they made up lies to try to cover up their abuses. When I don't hang out with their people, I don't get involved in their types of activities of their government conspiracy games or their government tricks or anything. So what is the other governors and mayors that are not involved with the activities of these people? If anybody has sent anything in the postal mail, I've not received nothing. And this government man trying to conjure up questions harassing me about my mother and father's estates because he's trying to steal everything. There's restraining orders against that satellite man and his government people. Everything that man tries to do, he's trespassing, harassing, physically assaulting me with his satellite games, and it's attempted murder. It's like this satellite man is trying to play Kung Fu theater, beating me up with satellite transmissions and lasers. It's attempted murder. Those people need to go into court